Ever walked into a meeting where tensions were so thick you could cut them with a knife? What if I told you there's a 5-step framework used by hostage negotiators that can de-escalate even the most personal or high-stakes conflicts, starting with a principle called seek first to understand? Most leaders instinctively try to win the argument or defend their position, but that approach only fuels frustration and miscommunication. The real breakthrough comes when you pause, listen, and show respect, even when you disagree. Respect and active listening aren't just soft skills. They are the foundation for resolving conflict and rebuilding trust. Let's look at how one team put these principles into practice when everything seemed to be falling apart. If you're new here, please subscribe and like, because I share tips to help you improve your career. Inside this design team at a fast-growing tech startup, the warning signs had been building for months. Talented individuals worked on exciting projects with major clients, but meetings quickly unraveled into combative exchanges. Designers held tightly to their creative choices, refusing to compromise on visual elements. Engineers dismissed UX concerns without discussion. Missed deadlines piled up, 3 and 6 months, all traced back to persistent conflict that no one seemed able to resolve. The project manager began documenting these clashes and noticed a clear pattern. Intense discussions, team members would shut down, arms folded, responding to every new idea with immediate pushback. Communication broke down so thoroughly that people resorted to passive-aggressive Slack messages instead of direct conversation. One argument over button placement ended with raised voices and someone storming out. Experts agree miscommunication is the root cause of most team clashes, not the technical details of the work itself. On this team, senior designers felt their experience was constantly second-guessed, while newer hires believed their ideas were dismissed outright. The result was a toxic cycle of defensiveness and mistrust. Simon Sinek's research on high-performing teams highlights this exact dynamic. When trust erodes, even the most skilled groups become dysfunctional as individuals focus on their own agendas instead of team goals. After another missed deadline, the manager decided it was time for a radical change. Drawing on a hostage negotiation technique, seek first to understand, the manager opened an emergency meeting by asking each person to share their frustrations uninterrupted. They agreed no solutions until everyone spoke, forcing listening over rebuttal. A UX designer later reflected, "I realized we'd stopped seeing each other as colleagues and started treating each other as obstacles." That session uncovered the real issue. Different departments had developed separate priorities and assumptions, rarely pausing to understand the other's perspective. Engineers focused on technical constraints that designers hadn't considered, while creatives prioritized aesthetics that engineers saw as optional. The simple act of listening without interruption shifted the team's mindset. By the end, team members asked clarifying questions instead of defending their own positions. This breakthrough didn't fix everything overnight, but it created a new foundation for the team's interactions. The manager introduced structured discussion methods from FBI negotiation training, emphasizing that understanding must come before problem solving. Open debates gave way to guided conversations, where each person restated the other's viewpoint before sharing their own. The goal wasn't agreement, it was to ensure everyone felt heard. As the team adjusted to this approach, they began to notice something unexpected, a shift in the way they related to one another, and a hint of the deeper principle that would soon reshape their entire dynamic. If you're finding this helpful, please subscribe and like, because it helps us create content that matters to you. Also, if you want to take your skills further, check out our executive education and executive coaching programs at execbeat.com. Respect, as hostage negotiator Scott Telamer explains, is a core principle that changes the entire tone of a conversation. When the manager introduced Telamer's negotiation framework, anchored by seek first to understand, know when to deliver your message, and the power of respect, the team's initial reaction was skepticism. One developer remarked, "This feels like therapy." But these methods weren't about softening the discussion. They were about using proven communication strategies to resolve conflict. Instead of jumping in to argue, team members practiced active listening through minimal encouragers like "okay" and "go on," and paraphrased what others said to show they were truly listening. Gradually, resistance faded. Team members tried labeling emotions. "You sound frustrated about the timeline," rather than immediately defending their own views. They incorporated Dorothy Walker's neutral questioning, asking, "Can you help me understand your constraints?" This approach moved the group from adversarial standoffs to collaborative problem-solving. As conversations opened up, underlying priorities became clear. Engineers voiced concerns about technical debt, while designers highlighted user experience metrics that had previously gone unheard. The shift became evident during a high-stress client deadline. Two senior members disagreed sharply on feature priorities. Instead of interrupting, the product lead used Telema's approach. "Let me summarize your points to check my understanding." The room quieted as each side heard their perspective reflected back with accuracy and respect. Telema's case studies from negotiation training show that this kind of empathetic paraphrasing signals genuine engagement and builds trust, something the team felt immediately. The engineer admitted, "I didn't realize your data showed such high user drop-off." The designer responded, "And I didn't grasp how much back-end work your solution required." Together, they outlined a phased rollout that addressed both concerns. The client later praised their unusually collaborative problem-solving. This new dynamic wasn't limited to senior staff. A junior developer, who had often felt overlooked, used Walker's neutral questioning, "Can you help me understand?" to challenge a senior architect's approach. The architect, instead of dismissing the idea, replied, "Walk me through your idea." Reflecting on the moment, the junior developer noted, "For the first time, I felt like my input actually mattered, and the conversation didn't become defensive." To reinforce these habits, the manager set clear expectations. Everyone had to paraphrase before responding, perform perspective checks during debates, and avoid interrupting. Within 2 months, the team's psychological safety scores improved significantly. Respect wasn't just a value, it became their most effective tool for getting work done. When respect and understanding become routine, even long-standing conflicts lose their power. This approach doesn't eliminate disagreement, but it transforms how teams handle it, laying the groundwork for lasting change. Lasting improvement comes when teams look beyond surface disagreements and examine how they work together. Liz Kislick shows that fixing tensions often means revisiting work structures, not faulting personalities. Conflict is part of any workplace, but the outcome depends on how you choose to respond. Next time tensions flare, ask yourself, am I listening to understand or just waiting to respond? Try one of the techniques, paraphrasing, neutral questions, or perspective checks, and notice how it shifts the conversation. As Scott Telema advises, treat others the way they want to be treated. Negotiators remind us that respect is the first step in resolving any conflict. Let us know in the comments which technique you'll try first. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like, because it helps us bring you more free videos. And if you're ready to grow your career, visit execbeat.com to learn about our executive education and coaching.